Welcome to this free immigration help channel. Today is April 19, 2023 and we are getting into the volume 67 of me answering your immigration related questions from the comments. I'm gonna say before I begin, as always, I'm not an immigration attorney. This is not a legal advice. I'll try to go as fast as I can in this video because now I'm getting more comments than I can actually address. So now we're having a backlog on this channel and I don't want the backlog on this channel. So let's start with the very first one from Kashish Sharma. How much time it will take to move forward? F4 category India. Kashish, thank you for your question. Let's take a look at Visa Bulletin. This is the most recent one from May 2023. Let's take a look. F4 priority dates for India, because India, they have their own separate chargeability areas. And we see that as of right now, looks like the immigrant visas are becoming available for people who filed their petitions, I-130 petitions, back in February 2006. Again, this is a rough number. If you filed back in February 2006, it does not mean that the immigrant visa will be, that's it, available. It might be available, but it's not a guarantee that you will have your interview. A lot of people who have been already documentarily qualified are still waiting for their interviews, and the reason for that is because we had the closures during the pandemic, which according to F2A category, as we recently found out, there is about 2.5 years on the backlog specifically for those interviews. So Kashish, hopefully this was helpful. Keep in mind there might be some time to wait for an immigrant visa, but now we are also dealing for some time waiting for the interviews, the actual interviews after people are already documentarily qualified. All right, let's move on to the next one from Trudy Bups, and I'm very sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name. My priority date is April 2015 and I'm still waiting on interview date. And your video showed that my category reached at 2017. What do I need to do? Trudy, again, thank you for the question, and it's pretty much exactly the same answer as I just gave to Kashish. People are documentarily qualified and they're still waiting, and we know as of recently that there are some people that have been waiting for their interviews after becoming documentarily qualified for as long as about 2.5 years. Which is ridiculous. It's a very long time, especially for someone who is documentarily qualified, especially for someone who already has the immigrant visa available. But we are dealing with the backlog at the embassies now, because embassies were also closed as a lot of other things during the whole pandemic closures, and now they're catching up. I think this backlog will be cleared pretty quickly. We will see in the next few months. I think it will be cleared pretty quickly because everything is open. They're scheduling the interviews, so things are moving along. And there is no backlog like on visa availability. It's a little bit different because visa availability, you literally have the number, the capped number of immigrant visas each year. And of course, each year we get more and more applications, I-130 petitions. So backlog actually keeps accumulating. It's not the same case for these interviews at the US Embassy. So I think it will be clear pretty quickly. We will see. But as of for now, what you can do and what I would recommend you do is two things. Submit a public inquiry form with the NVC. Alternatively, you can request expedited processing with NVC. In this particular case, it's kind of the same thing. It really doesn't matter which one you go. I have both videos on both of these processes. And also reach out to your local US Embassy and ask them for a follow-up. Maybe they can give you information when approximately you're looking at the interview. Maybe not. Don't be upset if they don't give you any information. It's really at their discretion, but it is worth a shot. It is worth a shot. All right, let's move on to the next one from Corazon Gray. How long they will wait? F3 file date June 2003. Okay, so let's take a look. F3, we know the filing date is in 2003. Let's take a look. F3. Wow, that's the December. So I am assuming you're not from all chargeability or China or India. I'm assuming you are either Mexico or Philippines because your priority date is 2003 and still is nothing happening. So I'm assuming either Philippines or Mexico. If Philippines looks like, let's see, 2003, and they're now doing 2002, looks like roughly about 1 more year. And if Mexico, then looks like roughly 5 years, 6 years. My math is horrible, sorry about that. But this is the numbers. But if you are from any of these chargeability areas, whether China, India, or all chargeability areas, then it's definitely past due, and I would recommend as soon as possible submitting that public inquiry form with NVC. And I'm actually gonna show you, because I told about this to Trudy, and I think Kashish can do that as well, and Corson, you can do that too. So I'll show everyone how to do that. So this is the link you can find in the description below for the Visa Bulletin May 2023. Just click on it. This is official government website for the Department of State, specifically the Consular Affairs. We're gonna click on this Contact Us right here at the very top. I'm gonna actually open it in new tab so that I don't close this page. And then we're gonna click on US Visas Contacts. And then if you scroll down, you will see in this graph, the very first row, you will see public inquiry form. Click on that, and then you'll scroll down and you will see another public inquiry form right next to online immigrant visa inquiries only. That's what we need. Click on that, and then there you will see the online form that you need to fill out with your information. Very polite, be very polite, very professional in your inquiry, but request the information. Tell them that what your status is, whether you're documentarily qualified already or not, whether what your category is. Just explain the situation. Tell them that according to Visa Bulletin, my immigrant visa should already be available, but nothing is happening. Where's my interview? Where's so far so forth, and see what their response is. Again, don't be upset if they don't respond to you, or they respond to you with like a generic boilerplate answer. Sometimes they do that, but it is still good to inquire, to show them that you're staying on top of the case, that you're following up, and that you didn't just let the case go and do whatever you want to do. All right, let's move on to the next one from Chioma EB. Good day, I'm on the F1 category, have been documentarily qualified almost a year now. Please, when do you think my visa will be? I was born in Germany. My priority date is January 2016. Chioma, thank you for your question. So as far as we know right now, right, again from that F2A category, and the F2A category is very important. I actually done a separate video on it if you want to check it out to kind of understand where that where I'm taking my information and making that judgment, the information that I'm providing in these videos. Because F2A was current. We did not have any backlog on the F2A category. It was current, and now we see that documentarily qualified people in F2A category are waiting 2.5 years. And that shows us that artificial backlog that we got accumulated during the pandemic. It's not the backlog because of the availability of the immigrant visas. It is what happened due to closures during the pandemic. And we know that there are people that are waiting as long as 2.5 years after being documentarily qualified for that actual interview. All right, so if you have been waiting a year, a very, very rough estimate for you, the longest that you can, potentially wait is 1.5 years. But that's, again, it's judging by a different category, by the F2A category. And again, like I've mentioned earlier, I think that backlog, right? The backlog for people that are documentarily qualified and already have the immigrant visas are available and just waiting for an interview, it will be cleared faster. Why? Because there is no limitation on anything. It's just as soon as these embassies, they can process these applications and actually schedule these interviews and go through the interviews. That's it. And actually that brings me to another point that I think is going to be helpful for everyone, and I think I'm going to start mentioning in every video. That is exactly why there is right now conversation to completely eliminate those interviews. Basically, there is a talk right now within Department of Homeland Security, Department of State, to completely get rid of these embassy interviews, and for that matter here as well, if the beneficiary is here in the United States, so that the process is streamlined. And it makes sense. If you're documentarily qualified, if you already waited your time and the immigrant visa is already available, why wait more? Just give that immigrant visa to the beneficiary, and that's it. Let them do their thing. There is no point of redoing this whole stuff again and again and again and waiting so long. So we will see. If that happens, it would be fantastic. I don't know if it will happen or not, but there is a conversation like this, and this is specifically because we see this artificial backlog because of the pandemic. All right, let's move on to the next one from Ali. Hi there. At Free Immigration Help, USCIS asked for the translator certificate as well along with the translated document, but I didn't get any and didn't upload that, but I uploaded the properly notarized translated documents. So is it fine, or the translator certificate was mandatory? Please answer this as well. Ali, thank you very much for your question. So whenever it comes to translations, what USCIS needs is certified translation. Certified translation, it does not come with a separate certificate or anything like this. Basically what it is kind of like a, like a notary seal. So you have your document and then they put the notary seal and say, okay, this document is legitimate copy, or this document was signed by this person. I notarized the fact that it was signed by this person. Same exact thing is with the certified translations. You have the translation itself, all right? And then at the bottom, it's literally just a statement from the translator that says, my name is blah, 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 and I am fluent in English as well as the language that is being translated to English, right? And my phone number is blah, 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 or contact whatever kind of information, the date that I translated it at this date. And if you have any questions about these translations, you can reach out to me for whatever reason, basically. That's kind of like most of the times that what you see. Of course, there are different templates for that little statement, but as long as it's something along those lines, that's it. This is considered the certified translation, which is also notarized. So the notary notarizes the fact that the person who is signing that certification on the translation is real that person, because they compare it with the ID. So hopefully you understand that now. If that's the case with your translation, you will be fine. There's not going to be any problems because, like I said, there is no separate certificate of translation or anything like this. At least USCIS, they don't need anything like that. All right, let's move on to the next one from Lonel Jane Legaspi. Lonel, thank you for another question. I really appreciate it. Hello, sir. Thank you for answering my question about my summary page. Due to the numerical limitations, blah, blah, blah. So basically, Lonel, they were approved by USCIS and they can log into the NVC portal, the CAAC portal, but they're getting this message. It says that they don't have the full access yet. So they cannot start the documentarily qualification process to become documentarily qualified, right? They cannot pay the fees, submit the documents, so far, so forth. Okay, my priority date is April 7, 2021, and class category on my CAC account was F11 with an accompanying child. Okay, there's no petitioner, only principal account, and my sister account can already proceed. We have the same priority date. Why mine is not yet fixed? Should I wait for a year for this? Because it is stated that it will be expired in 1 year. Thank you for helping me through. Lonel, of course, you're very welcome. So I would highly recommend, especially if you have someone, and it really goes for everyone. If you know someone and have a similar case that has already been processed, and your case is similar, it's from the same chargeability area, it's in the same category, and it's not processed, I would highly recommend reaching out, doing the same thing, the public inquiry form with the NVC. All right. Also, in your case, you really cannot do the expedited request, because for the expedited request you actually have to be documentarily qualified. This is one of the requirements. So I think a public inquiry form would be the best thing to do. But in possible situation that you are still not getting any progress with the NVC at all, they don't give you any legitimate reasons why it's taking so long to open up, why it's because you are let's see, what's your original filing date? So my priority date, so your priority date is 2021 and it's F11. Yeah, so it should have been already, it's pretty close to the it should have been already open in the CAC, I think, for the documentarily qualification. So I would recommend submitting that case inquiry, and if they don't respond, they don't give you any good, decent response, any decent update, I would recommend reaching out to local elected officials. And again, this goes for everyone. If you're having problems with these government organizations, right, whether it's USCIS, NVC, whoever it is, and you check the processing times, you check the visa bulletin, you submitted the case inquiries, you did everything to find out the information from them, and they're still giving you kind of like a round and giving you this boilerplate responses, you always have an option to reach out to local elected officials, senators, state representatives, whoever, so that they, on behalf of you, because this is their job, this is what they get elected to do. They are elected to represent the interests of the people that elect them, including in dealing with government organizations like USCIS and NVC. So if you cannot establish that direct communication with NVC and they're not being helpful, try that, especially because you have your sister that her case is already, she already has the access to the portal and ability to start the documentarily qualification process. All right, let's move on to the next one from Harold Espinoza. Hi, sir. My mom unfortunately failed the naturalization interview recently and will try again after 60-90 days, but her green card will expire in the next 2 months. Is it possible to apply for green card renewal while there is a pending US citizenship application? Harold, I'm very sorry that your mom is going through this. It's unfortunate. This whole interview is ridiculous. You go through all this with the permanent residence. You maintain your permanent residence for 5 years. You're obviously a good resident because you don't commit any crime, you don't do anything bad, and then you apply for naturalization. You pay the fees, and then it's almost like they make a joke out of those people that actually want to do it legally, that want to go through these background checks and interviews and court dates and pay the fees, and they still try to it's ridiculous. So I'm sorry you're dealing with this, Harold. So it seems like it's very, very close between the interview, redoing the interview, and the actual expiration of green card. So I'm honestly not even sure if you need to bother with the renewal of the green card. Why? Because you're doing the renewal of the green card, you'll pay for it, and by the time you get it, hopefully your mom will already go through the interview and successfully complete it. All right? But if you think that there will be a substantial amount of time between the interview and actually, if you're not sure that her interview is going to be in the next 60-90 days, and you think the green card is really going to be expired and will be expired for a substantial amount of time after that, and still no interview, still no actual naturalization, then yeah, I'd probably recommend. And again, it's kind of unfortunate because now you have to pay for the renewal of the green card, but it's definitely better to be on the safe side and actually maintain that status, because you don't want any chance. You don't want them to give any chance, USCIS, whoever it is. You don't want government. You don't want to give them any chance to somehow make a negative decision on your case, your mom's case, anybody's case, your relative's case, because there is a little something, a week or 2 weeks. And I've seen cases like this. Where a person was for 2 weeks without status, and 5 years down the road they were going, it was with a permanent residence, and they were actually dealing with serious problems. Why? Because 5-6 years ago they somehow managed to be without the status in the United States for a week or 2 weeks. It's ridiculous. So yeah, you're probably better off applying for that renewal of the green card, just in case, just to be on the safe side. All right, let's move on to the next one from Chad Leslie. Good morning, sir. Good morning. I'm F3. My priority date is March 2011. Living in Jamaica. How long from now they will reach my time? All right, let's take a look at the visa bulletin. F3 Jamaica, so it's an all chargeability area. Let's see, F3, we got February 2010. Let's see, March 2011. Okay, so looks like roughly you have about a year to wait, according to the visa bulletin, about a year to wait for the availability of the immigrant visa. Obviously, after the immigrant visa becomes available, you're documentarily qualified, there is some time to wait for the interview to be scheduled. Hopefully we will catch up with that artificial backlog on the interviews because of the pandemic by then. But roughly, very roughly, about a year. At least that's what we have according to the visa bulletin. But again, I still recommend every single month the brand new visa bulletin comes out. I would highly recommend staying on top of it and checking it. I will be making a video on each visa bulletin that comes out each month, but we will see. Hopefully, we've seen some good updates this month. Well, not April, but in May 2023. As you can see, May 2023 visa bulletin is already out, a little bit earlier before May, but we've seen some positive movement, and hopefully we will keep seeing that positive movement. But that's why it's important to constantly check it so that you're aware of those updates. All right, moving further to G Sandhu. If question 61 public charge is no for asylum, do we need to fill out financial and income part? So that question was the application for permanent resident, to register permanent resident. Let's take a look. I'm going to use this question as an opportunity to demonstrate some navigation on USCIS website. So this is the official US Citizenship and Immigration Services government website. We're going to go to forms right here at the top, navigation menu here. And then we're going to go to all forms. Whatever form you're looking for, petition, application that has to do with immigration, you can find it here. You can scroll down, it's in numerical alphabetic order, or you can just type it up here, 485. There you go, application to register permanent residence. Click on that. And we're gonna open the form itself. It's a PDF. And let's see, so you said question 61. All right, let's scroll down to the question 61. Actually, you know what? I can search within the form. There we go, 61. Nope, that's not the 61 I'm looking for. Let's see. Yes, this is the 61 I'm looking for. Public charge. Are you subject to the public charge ground of inadmissibility? Okay, definitely no. Of course no. If you answer yes, item number 61, complete number 62. Okay, so no, you don't. If you answer no to the item 61, go to item number 69A. If you need extra space. Okay, so if you answer no, you don't need to bother with this financials. Just go straight to the 69A. There you go. It says right here. All right, perfect. So we found the answer for that. I'm gonna make sure that you're aware that I have answered your question, and we're gonna move on to the next question from Ali Sadek. Ali, thank you very much for being publicly subscribed. This is what this icon means. Really appreciate it. All right, let's see what you got. So, hi sir, I have a question. My priority date is December 2007. When should I send DS to 60 and paying the charges to become documentarily qualified? I am in F4 category. Ali, excellent question. So, really, as soon as the CAC, NVC, whichever, it's the same thing, as soon as they allow the full access to their portal, I would recommend start working on that documentarily qualification process, right? Because you, as part of the documentarily qualification process, you have a few things. You have that DS 260 application for the actual visa that you need to fill out, just a few details, and then pay for it, right? You have the affidavit of support that you need for the sponsor, right, on the petition, the petitioner themselves. You need to provide some financial documents, and all of that, once you submit all of this, payments, applications, and the documents, the NVC, they actually have to review it and then approve it. And all of this, it takes time, and it might take it can take easily a whole year to just become documentarily qualified, because sometimes you submit all the documents and NVC, they review it and they say, okay, no, you know what, your sponsor doesn't have enough money, you're going to need a joint sponsor, or we didn't accept this document, you need to provide this document. And between this back and forth, there's 2 months there, 3 months there, you submit it again, they take another 3 months to review it. So the sooner you begin that process, the better, all right? Once you have full access to the portal, just start working on it and just get it out of the way. if most of the times they allow the full access to the portal closer to the availability of the immigrant visa, with the calculation in mind that by the time you become documentarily qualified, the immigrant visa is going to be available and they will just send the case to the US embassy. But again, you might experience delays back and forth, you never know. So the sooner the better. Once the USCIS approves the case, the petition, I-130 petition, they transfer it to the NVC, and they give you the login credentials for the CAC portal. So you should already have that. Log in if you have full access, because actually in this video we have seen with, let's see, with Lonel, you either gonna have this message saying that, oh, you know what, you need to wait. You're logged into the CAC portal, but you still need to wait. You're not ready to become documentarily qualified. Or you will have the full access. If you have full access, just start working on it as soon as possible. All right, let's move on to the next one from Anirudh Gadiraju. Anirudh, sorry, I'm always having trouble with your name. Appreciate you publicly subscribed, and thank you for another question. So let's read it. Hello, sir. Thank you for your insight earlier. I'm not yet documentarily qualified. NVC has allowed me access to the payment link just 2 days ago. Great, awesome. There are 2 payment links as follows: sponsor paid, applicant not paid, not allowed yet. Okay, once all documents are submitted, any idea how many days does NVC typically take to deem my case as documentarily qualified? Thanks and regards. You're very welcome, Anirudh. So by the internal regulations, if you dig through this web of bureaucracy and paperwork, you will see that they try to address, once you submit all the documents, they try to review them within about 60 days. All right, so about 2 months. But again, I've seen situations where it takes anywhere roughly, in most cases it takes somewhere around between 3 months to 6 months, at least as of in the past few years. At least that's what we see. Again, it might take faster, it might take slower, but you are already, you have the full access to the portal for the most part, except the applicant, which is kind of weird, because they allowed you maybe they allowed you the initial access, like with Lonel example on the top, and you're still waiting to actually get the full access to the portal. But Anirudh, if you could, keep everyone updated, because it's really helpful when you see other people, there is a movement in other people's cases, because you see it, you know how long it took for them, and now you can kind of judge for yourself. It really is helpful. All right, let's move on to the next one from Mia Ufomba. Good info. Thank you, Mia. Appreciate you watching. I have an I-130 approved and documentarily qualified at NVC. Congratulations. That's great. I only wish the NVC didn't have such a backlog. They are caught up to April 2022 documentarily qualified cases. Quite a long wait ahead. Mia, seems like you're staying on top of the case. You're aware of the backlog. You're aware of the wait for interviews. And Mia right here is a great example. She's documentarily qualified. That's it. She established, whether she's a petitioner or beneficiary, it's already established the relationship between the petitioner and beneficiary, right? The relationship already established. The financials already established. All the fees are already paid. And most likely the immigrant visa is already available. Why? Because she's already documentarily qualified. It's very important to understand that they don't make you documentarily qualified, they don't allow you to become documentarily qualified until very, very close to the availability of the immigrant visa. And in most cases, if you are already documentarily qualified, most likely you already have that immigrant visa that is available. Literally the only thing that we're waiting for is that interview in the embassy, which, if you think about it, is completely redundant. There's no point to it, because you already have everything available, you already gone through the process. So Department of State, get rid of the interviews. We don't need them. It's pointless. All right, let's address the very last question for today from Sarbjit Pawar. Sarbjit, thank you very much for your question. My understanding is that if I-130 in case of US citizen filing for parents is approved, the green card is made available. Do we still have to go through NVC process as given in this video? Yes, sir. So you do have to go through this process regardless. Yes, as a U.S. citizen filing for parents, this is, immediate relative category, so the immigrant visas are always available. There is no cap on that particular category. However, you still have to go through the documentarily qualification process to establish that you are sufficient of a sponsor, and you can actually sponsor your parents, immigrating into the United States, and that they don't become basically a burden on the government, right? And that's how they present it, which is kind of sad because we ourselves as immigrants, we go through these whole lengthy processes to show that, I really did want to immigrate here. I really wanted to do the right thing, and now I'm really trying to do the right thing for my parents, but this all these boundaries that we have to go through, just a bunch of jumping through the hoops, right? And you file these petitions, you pay these fees, you get approved by USCIS, and then you have to do all over again with the NVC plus all the financials. NVC, they really look at the financials. For USCIS, it's more so they try to establish the relationship, and NVC, they try to establish that sponsorship ability. And then after you're documentarily qualified, you still have to wait for now the interview at the US Embassy. But this is the system, this is how it works, and if we want to take anything out of it, then we have to become part of it and participate in all this jumping through the hoops, basically. But I appreciate all of your questions. I hope my answers were helpful. If you have any follow-up questions, do not hesitate to ask. Just make sure to not answer within my comment, in your comment, because I don't see those notifications. Please submit it as a separate comment. As always, appreciate your time. God bless, and I'll see you in the next video.